Welcome, I'm teacher Lisa, your ESL video instructor. This video will cover chapter 2, working 9 to 5. This is based on Interchange Level 3, 5th edition. So working 9 to 5, in this lesson, we're going to discuss opinions, advantages, and disadvantages of jobs, how to talk about that, and how to compare various jobs. So to begin, what do you want from your career? And that's important to be able to express that even on a job interview. So is it security? Do you want to have stability in a job? 2, maybe it's adventure. Perhaps you can't picture yourself doing the same thing at the same place for years and years. Or perhaps it's money. You want a higher paying job. So think about what you want from your career. So we have some interesting perspectives here. We're actually not going to listen to all of them, but what is actually very nice is you can see very short, concise statements of what they expect from their job. Look at this one here. I'd enjoy working with animals. I think working as a veterinarian could be rewarding. So very nice, describing that job as rewarding. Or how about this one? I'm not sure. Animals can be very unpredictable. Getting a dog bite would be scary. Or how about this one? I disagree. Playing the same game every day for months would be boring. So whatever it is we're talking about, whether it's becoming a veterinarian or in some other industry or a video game designer, what's your opinion? Do you agree or disagree? So we're going to move forward. And let's do a grammar point here. So grammar focus, the gerund phrases. So what's interesting about the gerund, remember the gerund is described as having an ing ending. It can be a subject or it can be an object. Remember how you find the subject in a sentence. It's the answer to the question, who or what are we talking about? That answer is the subject. Who or what are we talking about? So look at the examples here. You can start the sentence with the subject, having an ing phrase. For example, playing games all day would be lots of fun. So who or what are we talking about? Playing games all day. That is the subject. Being a flight attendant sounds exciting. Who or what are we talking about? Being a flight attendant. Same thing here. Designing clothes is not a man's job. Working as a veterinarian could be rewarding. The gerund phrase can also be an object. So it can also be at the end of a sentence. She'd be good at testing games. He'd love being a flight attendant. He wouldn't like being a fashion designer. She'd enjoy working with animals. So again, who or what are we talking about is to find the subject, but it also can be an object. What is the action, the feeling? What is that directed towards? Then that would be the object of the sentence. So let's move forward. Now you need to be able to express your opinion of a job, and this is how you can do it. So we have column A, column B, and column C. So you can take anything from column A, B, and C and put them together, and you can form a sentence. Of course, it has to make sense. So there's more than one right answer here. But we just don't want to say that a job is good, a job is bad, I like this job, I don't like this job. You want to be able to have more ways to express your opinion. For example, let's do a couple of them together. Working from home could be fantastic. That's possible. Or doing volunteer work must be really rewarding. Let's go down. Being a teacher doesn't sound pretty difficult. So whatever it is that you want to pair together, it's just a good way to get practice describing your job or position or potential job. Let's move forward. Okay. Here we have sentence stem. We're going to go right here to the sentence stems. So sentence stems are very nice. That is how you can start a sentence. So we've given you the start, you just need to finish it. And this is a good way to start describing how you feel about a job or a position. I'd get tired of, I'd be interested in, I'd be very excited about, I'd enjoy, I think I'd be good at, I wouldn't be very good at, and finish the sentence. So for example, I wouldn't be very good at becoming an accountant because I'm terrible at math. So instead of just saying I like, or I don't like, or I want, or I don't want, we have different ways to start your sentences. And this is a nice example. Let's move forward. Now let's look at some of the suffixes. So what exactly is a suffix? So we have to remember it's what's at the end of the word. So it's what's at the end of a word. What is it called at the beginning of the word? It's called a prefix. So when you describe your job, make sure that you are doing so correctly. What I mean is make sure that you have the proper description of the job. So let's look at the right ending. We have the example of software developer, right? You're not a I am software develop. No, you are a software developer. So we are looking for the names of the jobs. So that gets an ER. And let's look at the next one. We'll go across here. Freelance journalist. So this is an IST. Next one, you are a marketing director. So we have an OR. Right, so here are our choices below, right? ER, OR, IST, or IAN. You could be a politician, IAN. You're a computer technician, IAN. You are a guidance counselor, OR. You're a project manager, ER. And you're a psychiatrist, IST. There we go. So it's just good to make sure that you are saying the proper name of your position. So you're not, I am guidance counsel. No, guidance counselor. So make sure you have that correct. This is also a very good practice. You should be able to describe what you do in 1 to 2 sentences at most. So can you give a definition of each job? It's surprising to me how many students, can talk, in 10 sentences and I still don't understand what they do. So you have to be able to do it in a way when you talk to somebody who doesn't know the jargon. The jargon is specific vocabulary for your position. So there is lawyer jargon. If you're an IT or computer technician, there is IT jargon. So there's specific words that the normal person wouldn't understand. So when you're describing your job, you shouldn't have too much jargon in it. It's okay if you're talking to a hiring manager that knows the jargon. So just make sure that you still have a way of when you talk to a neighbor or when you're just talking to someone who has no idea about your field, that you're able to define that job. So look at this example. A software developer is someone who creates apps for computers and other devices. So I'm a software developer. I create apps for computers and other devices. Great. You should be able to do that quickly and smoothly. Talking about career that you'd like to have. So we have an example dialogue here. Dialogues are great. I love dialogues. Students don't utilize them enough. I love them because they give you the words that a native would say. And you can look at the grammar, and also it gets you using more contractions. Informal English, we use contractions. We love them a lot. So this dialogue is written for spoken English, which is different than written English. So you notice a lot of the contractions here in dialogues like I'd. Let's read it. I'd enjoy working as a guidance counselor. Why is that? Helping kids must be really rewarding. Where would you work? Well, I think I'd like to work at a high school. I enjoy working with teens. So just a great way to express what you like to do. Okay, we are just going to look at this box in this section here, useful expressions. When you are describing your job, what you need to do is to be able to take us through either your responsibilities, or if you're telling us what happened on a job, or you're just telling us in general about your job, or why you want a job, or on an interview, you have these nice expressions to organize your thoughts or ideas. Very hard to listen to someone who doesn't have what we call transition words to move from one idea to the other. So you can start by saying, first of all, why I love being an accountant, or first of all, why I love being a teacher. And then in addition, furthermore, for example, however, on the other hand, in conclusion. Remember, transition words are not all created equal. They all have different function. So first of all, it's just giving us a start of the idea. In addition, we're just adding. Furthermore, we're adding. For example, we're giving an example. However, moves the idea in a different direction. I love Coke. However, Pepsi tastes better. On the other hand, also moves the idea in a different direction. I love Coke. On the other hand, if I drink it every day, I could gain weight. So it moves the idea either in the same direction or different directions. And then in conclusion, it lets the listener know you're almost done with what you're saying. So having these cues throughout your description or whatever it is you're talking about, in this case, your job or position or potential job, is very helpful. Let's move on to the next. Let's listen to a conversation. It doesn't pay as much. So we're going to listen, and here's a little listening practice, and I'll ask you a question at the end of this dialogue. So let's listen now.
Page 11, Exercise 7, Conversation. It doesn't pay as much. Part A. Listen and practice.
Guess what? I found a summer job.
That's great. Anything interesting?
Yes, working at a beach resort.
Wow, that sounds fantastic.
So, have you found anything?
Nothing yet, but I have a couple of leads. One is working as an intern for a news website, mostly answering emails and posts from readers. Or I can get a job as a camp counselor again.
Being an intern sounds more challenging than working at a summer camp. You could earn college credits, and it's probably not as much work.
Yeah, but the internship doesn't pay as much as the summer camp job. Do they have another opening at the beach resort? That's the kind of job I'd really enjoy.
All right, very good. Hope you enjoyed that. And sorry if the recording blocked part of the text, but here you can see the text. So the question is, what is Tyler going to do at the resort? So here, what is he going to do? If you listened well or read well, Tyler is going to work with the entertainment staff. He'll have to organize and take part in daytime and evening activities like games, shows, and parties. Okay, let's move forward. Okay, we have a grammar point. This is a good way to compare. You might need to compare your previous job with the current job, or maybe you're weighing two options and you're not sure, or any kind of comparison. How do you do that? So with adjectives, you're going to use more or less than. So it sounds more challenging than. So again, you're comparing two things. And remember, it is a than with an A, not an E. So the then with an E means next. This one is not that. We are comparing, so you have to use than with an A. So more or less than. Also harder than. So when we compare, you can add an ER. Most words you can add an ER, not everything, but just ER lets us know that we are comparing. Not as with as is not as hard as, like math is not as hard as reading. Then with nouns, we can use better or worse than. So has, so that job, my previous job has better hours than this new job. Has more than, so has more education than. Isn't as much as. And then with verbs, we can use more or less than, right? This job earns more than my previous job, or earns as much as my previous job, or doesn't pay as much as my previous job. Then with past participles, better than, as, and as, isn't as, and as. Okay, remember what a past participle is? That's the past tense or ed form of the verb. Okay, so let's see if you're able to do that. More than one answer is possible. So we have to complete the sentence using the words in parentheses, and we have to complete that sentence so it makes sense. So again, you can go ahead and pause the video and see if you're able to complete this. So let's take a look at A. In my opinion, being a firefighter is more stressful than, more stressful. Okay, number one, I'm gonna type it right in. More stressful than. More stressful. In my opinion, being a firefighter is more stressful than being a sales associate. Let's go to number two. In addition, sales associates have better hours than firefighters. Better hours than firefighters. Don't forget the then. Number two, in general, doctors need more training than. More training than. Nutritionists, however, they usually earn more than. Usually, I'll put it over here, earn more than. Okay. Then we have number three. Game testers don't need as much experience as, I'll put it over here, as much experience as software developers. As a result, they earn less than software developers. So they earn less than software developers. A career in banking is often more demanding than a career in sales, but it is also better paid. It is also better paid. So again, this is very useful when you're talking about a previous job with a current job, or a job where you're weighing two options, or on an interview, you have to make comparisons. So you can certainly go back and take a look at this box and see how you can further use them. Okay, we're going to move forward. Pronunciation. Stress with compound words. So a compound word is two words together. And of course, those two words create this new word or this new meaning. So by itself, it doesn't have the same meaning as when we put the two nouns together, which is compound. So firefighter, right? So separately, fire and fighter have different meanings, but we put them together, we know what a firefighter is as a profession. This green circle is to show where the stress is, where we go up in English. So on compound words, the stress is on the first word. So we say firefighter, firefighter. Same thing here. Hair stylist, hair stylist. Game tester, flight attendant. Guidance counselor, project manager. So the stress is always on the first word in a compound word. Our voice goes up. So it's game tester. It's not game tester, no, game tester. So there's a difference. If you get the stress wrong, it sounds strange. Let's practice the listening. it's not what I thought. We're going to listen to Caden talk to Janelle about his job as a video game tester. Which parts of the job does he like and dislike? So you have to have the ability to express what you like and dislike about your job or a potential job or career. So let's listen, and then you're going to check whether it was a like or a dislike. So listen carefully. This is a good way to practice your listening. Okay, so here we go. Let's go ahead and play that.
Page 12, Exercise 10, Listening. It's not what I thought. Part A. Listen to Caden talk to Janelle about his job as a video game tester. Which parts of the job does he like and dislike? Check like or dislike.
Hey, Caden.
Janelle, hey.
I haven't seen you in a while. How have you been?
Oh, all right. I'm so happy it's Friday.
Oh, yeah? Hard week?
Every week is a hard week. I feel like time goes by so slowly at work.
Do you still have that job testing video games?
Yeah. I think the last time I saw you, I was just starting, and I was really excited about it. But honestly, Janelle, it's just not as fun as I thought it would be.
Why is that?
I mean, I don't want to sound ungrateful. I know it's better paid than a lot of jobs, and my hours are more flexible than most, but it's making me hate video games. I thought I was going to play the games and suggest ways to improve them, but I have to play the same parts over and over again and make mistakes to see what happens. I basically run hundreds of tests on every detail of the game.
Oh, I guess that wouldn't be very fun.
And when I play video games on the weekends, I keep noticing little things that I would report for work. I can't play games like I used to and just enjoy them.
So, do you think you want to change fields?
Well, that's the thing. Because I am always playing them, I'm constantly thinking of new ideas for games. I have lists at home. So I'm still passionate about video games, but I'm just tired of testing other people's ideas.
Why don't you go back to school so you can become a software developer? You know, you could develop your own games. I think with the experience you have now, you'd be really good at that.
Yeah, I've thought of that. If I keep working at this job for a while, I could afford to go back to school. Do you think that's a good idea?
Definitely. Then when you finish school, you can look for a job designing games. Who knows? Maybe this company where you're working now would hire you.
Hey, anything's possible. Thanks for the talk, Janelle. I'm going to look at universities this weekend.
Okay, how well did you listen? Did you think it was going to be easier than it was or more difficult? Let's see. So let's go ahead and check our boxes. So the pay, we're going to go ahead and put a like there. The hours, we're going to put a like there. Testing games, dislike. Playing video games at home, like. And then thinking of new ideas for games, there's a like. So did you get 100%? If not, it's okay. If you got half of them right, you're okay listening, not terrible. If you only got one right, you need to practice your listening. One or two right, then you need to practice your listening more. Okay, can you answer the question then? What does Caden decide to do? What does Caden decide to do? Well, the answer, Caden is going to keep working for a while and then go back to school to become a software developer. That is what he's going to do. So hopefully you listened well. Okay, so we're just going to actually go to the next page. We're on page 13, the perfect workplace. What is your workplace like? So again, you have to be able to express that. So we actually will just read through one of them as an example, but you can go ahead and pause the video if you'd like to take a closer look at these. So we have Laura in Palo Alto, California, Catherine in London, UK, and we have Mark from Bronx, New York. So let's take the one from Bronx. Let's look at Mark's description. So you can learn from this. Again, you should be able to do this. You should have a nice, concise description of your workplace and what you do. So let's read Mark's example down here. I work in a research laboratory at a botanical garden. Working in a lab isn't as tedious as it sounds. That's because a lot of my work takes place in the greenhouses or outdoors. I love spending time among plants, and I enjoy working with other scientists who share my interests. True, the workplace isn't very luxurious. We have a tiny break room that some people complain about, and there isn't a place to work out or anything, but being outdoors so much makes up for the disadvantages. So that's a nice, concise, almost elevator pitch. So an elevator pitch is just a professional introduction of yourself, and it's done in 30 to 45 seconds just to be able to quickly say what you do, what your responsibilities are, what you like or dislike. And that's a nice elevator pitch. So I would encourage you to go back and look at these examples here. Okay, so we are going down to part C here, and we're going to do the fill in the blank. We have 5 words: stimulating, perk, cubicle, tedious, luxurious. So could you put in the correct word? And again, pause the video if you'd like to see if you can get them, and then we can do them together. So let's take a look. Okay, number 1. One blank of my job is that we get free tickets to cultural and sporting events. So what would that be? 1 perk. So a perk is like a cool advantage that you get at your job. Number 2, working with creative people is very, because we can share lots of great ideas. Working with stimulating, very stimulating people. Working with creative people is very stimulating. All right, stimulating. So get that in there. Great. Number 3, the disadvantage of working in a is that you can hear everything that's going on around you. So have you ever worked in a cubicle? I know I have at one point, and it is true, you can hear everything around you. Number 4, the marketing director's office is very, with beautiful furniture and valuable painting, so very luxurious. You can see the base word there, luxury, in that choice, luxurious. And our last one, the most difficult one, working with numbers all day seems blank to some people, but I enjoy it. Tedious, tedious. That's a great word to know. Some people have jobs that, like in accounting, just very tedious, or you have to be very careful, maybe a scientist or something where you make just one small mistake and it's a big deal. So tedious is very detailed oriented, can be a little bit hard. You have to pay attention to detail. It's very tedious. Okay, very nice. Hopefully you got 100%. Unit 3, lend a hand. We're going to discuss favors, borrowing and lending, leaving messages with requests. See you in the next video. Thank you.